Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about monitor theory. But what is this about and why does it matter? Well, if you've studied English for many years but still feel nervous or stuck when speaking, this presentation is for you. Monitor theory is part of Stephen Krashen's work on how people learn languages. This theory matters because it explains why traditional language classrooms often fail, even when students work hard and study for years. Understanding this theory can help teachers teach better and learners stop blaming themselves when they struggle with fluency. The question is, who is Krashen and what is monitor theory, anyways? Stephen Krashen is an American linguist and educational researcher. He proposed that language learning doesn't happen mainly through grammar study and correction, but it happens through meaningful communication. He introduced 5 main hypotheses that explain how language acquisition works. These ideas are supported by research and have been discussed in language teaching for decades. Acquisition versus learning. Krashen says there is a very important difference between learning and acquisition. So basically, learning is conscious. It happens in classrooms when we study grammar rules, memorize the structures, and do exercises. Acquisition is subconscious. It happens when we understand what we hear or read without focusing on the rules. Language fluency comes from acquisition, not learning. This is how native speakers learn their first language. They don't study grammar, they just understand messages over time. This explains why many learners can pass grammar tests but still struggle in real conversations. Their knowledge is learned, not acquired. Now, the input hypothesis. If acquisition is the key, then the next question is, how do we acquire language? Krashen's answer is input. Input means listening and reading. We acquire language when we understand input that is slightly above our current level. If the input is too easy, there is no progress. If it is too difficult, learners feel lost and frustrated. But if it is just a little challenging and still understandable, the brain starts acquiring language naturally. We can have some examples in here, like watching a TV series you enjoy, but with English subtitles. Listening to a podcast where you understand most of it. Having conversations where you understand the message even if you miss some words. Importantly, speaking is not required for acquisition. Understanding comes first. The monitor hypothesis. The monitor is the grammar knowledge we have learned consciously. When we speak, the monitor often tries to check our sentences for mistakes before we say them. This can help with writing or editing, but during speaking, it usually slows us down. This is why many learners hesitate, stop mid-sentence, or feel anxious while speaking. Language should flow naturally, not be constantly corrected in our heads. Accuracy improves over time through acquisition, not through constant grammar correction. Moving on to the affective filter hypothesis. This hypothesis focuses on emotions. Krashen explains that stress, anxiety, fear of mistakes, or boring lessons can raise what he calls the affective filter. When this filter is high, language input cannot reach the part of the brain that acquires language. So, When learners feel relaxed, confident, interested, safe, the filter is low and learning happens more easily. This shows that emotional factors are just as important as teaching methods. A supportive teacher and a comfortable learning environment are essential. Now, the natural order hypothesis. Krashen also says that grammatical structures are acquired in a natural order, not in the order they are taught. For example, in English, the ing form is acquired early. Plural S comes next. A third person S, like he goes, is acquired much later. Yeah, do you understand what I mean? Even advanced learners may still make basic mistakes, not because they are careless, but because their brain hasn't acquired that structure yet. This process cannot be forced. Input and time are essential. Real world connection. In real classrooms, this theory suggests that teachers should focus more on listening and reading, reduce overcorrection, create low stress environments, and use interesting and meaningful content. From a learner's perspective, it explains why watching shows, listening to podcasts, and enjoying the language often helps more than doing grammar worksheets. Now, let's move on to the conclusion. To conclude, we can say that monitor theory shows us that language learning is not about memorizing rules, but about understanding messages in a supportive environment. These ideas have been supported by research for many years, yet many classrooms still ignore them. If teachers and learners apply these principles more seriously, language learning could become more effective, more natural, and much less stressful. Thank you for your listening. Now please like and subscribe if this video was helpful to you.